What up, guys? So we just got finished with our Grounding Man Masculine Energy Development Camp. Pretty sick shit. And say hi to my boy here.
What's up? I'm Aaron.
This is
Justin.
And this is
Trevor.
What up, guys? So we're sort of talking about destiny here. Is that a true thing, or is it, sort of bullshit? And talking about women a little bit. So if you want to listen in, listen in.
It's just a topic jump.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Who cares?
All right. So I just unloaded thoughts.
Yeah, you're a little decharged.
I'm afraid to come a little bit.
Oh yeah. All right.
Do we want to summarize what you said and then have like a response?
Well, what do you think?
Okay. Well, in my opinion on destiny, I can't really go off, I can only really go off my own experiences and what I know. And from what Johnny said earlier, you can look at an experience and say, that was really shitty, but, it did a lot for me. And I'm actually guilty of that. I've done that a lot, especially with my bad experiences. And you said that you're able to come on.
It's okay. Come on.
You said you're able to do that with good experiences too, which gives me an idea that I should, or that maybe I do, but I don't notice it as much. Because I think as humans we gravitate to that negative, kind of headspace, and we try to learn lessons through our failures rather than our victories. But as far as destiny goes, I think I am more apt to say, I am glad that happened because I am who I am because of it. And because of that in itself, I run at things now that my heart says to. Because even if it hurts me, it kind of relates to what you said, what choice is right. And so it doesn't matter. Either way I win.
Yeah.
Because my perception of anything that happens to me is completely altered, and all I can do is look at it for what it can do.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. So I want to elucidate a couple things that I said about destiny. That's what I meant when I said I've never had a good conversation about destiny when we're talking about the future. But you can have productive conversations about destiny when you're talking about your past. Because in hindsight, whatever happened. So yeah.
Yeah, you can hope things went better.
What the heck else would destiny have been?
Yeah.
If you've got any kind of definition of destiny, it's what has happened.
Right.
And so, and I find that very meaningful. But I also don't. There's a lot that we mean by destiny when we're talking about the future that I think is good and healthy. When you're talking about intuition and drive and doing and following your heart and what you think the path is.
Yeah.
What's interesting? Robert Moore, the guy who wrote King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, based off, that's the work that we're doing. I was listening to a lecture of his, and he talked about how if you don't believe in destiny, and if you do believe in destiny, like, you're fucking wrong, right? Like, it's a combination, right? Because he talks about it in psychological terms, and he says, for instance, like, if someone doesn't believe in destiny and they think like all of their life experiences are essentially a derivative of just their free will, like, then they're gonna basically expect way too much of themselves, and like the human psyche can't really handle that level of pressure. It's gonna crush you. And then on the other end of the spectrum, like, if you feel like everything's predestined, then like you can't use the power that you do have to change the route that you're going down.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just really talked about how, like, not believing in destiny is like just as dangerous as the opposite way around.
Right. I have a saying, the saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I prefer with great responsibility comes great power.
I agree with that.
And the reason I bring that up is because responsibility is what gives you it's what grounds you and gives you self-worth and
if you're responsible, then you're responsible.
Yeah.
And you can do more, and you have the ability.
Oh shit! I never heard that one.
Yeah.
I'm keeping that one in the bank.
Yeah. Sure. And
responsible is responsible.
And
I like that shit a lot.
And to your point on to your point on destiny, and how Robert Morris said, if you don't believe in it, you're gonna blame yourself and it could crush you. That's what responsibility can be a fucking mountain. It can be heavy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a there's a dark side. It can kill you.
Absolutely.
You can go fight the dragon and you can lose.
Yeah, I sort of like tie it to surrender and influence. Like that's how I generally think about it. It's like, because, you know, in the spiritual communities, you'll often hear like, it's all about surrender, just let go.
Okay.
But like, if you fully, sometimes letting go can be confused with allowing a very unstrategic sort of collapse of like your energy and power. Which it could be argued whether that rest that would come from that would allow you to come back later next time stronger. But I've definitely experienced, like when I first started getting deep into sort of like letting go meditation, I'd lay there for like hours and like I didn't realize that I was reinforcing a dissociation response. And so there was this paradox that I sort of learned when I meditated more and more, which was like there's a paradoxical sort of like, it's almost like the singularity exists within like the larger, and then also the inverse is true, and then the larger turns into a singularity and exists in the larger, which is like, say for instance, like if you want to accomplish a goal, like you're trying to reach a lot of people and help a lot of people, you need to sort of like surrender and relax to whatever may come your way, but at the same time, like you surrender in a way that's like expansive.
Okay.
It's an expansive surrender. It's a surrender where you're standing up against the forces that desire to collapse you.
That's tender aggression.
Tender aggression. So you're surrendering into empowered action, which is quite different than like how some people could interpret surrender, which is just like, just whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Like, which is not, it's not an extremely adaptive
I went down that road
space.
for a little while and that sucked. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Speaking from my experience, that was a dark hole. That's no good.
I had this.
I came out hating a lot of stuff about myself. I felt disempowered and detached and a little lost. So
I had this. Why don't you like move a little bit, just like this way, so you can sort of, so the beautiful people can see this beautiful person. So that's interesting. Collapse. Yeah, it does, and it does get dark, and it can be like very disempowering. I actually had a similar problem when I was trying to, get good with women and become more attractive to the women that I wanted to be attracted to. At the same time, I was doing, in that sort of like sphere of thinking, like, a woman wants a high value guy, right? And so by the very judgment of saying that a guy is high value, it implies that other guys they don't want are less valuable. But then I was exploring a lot of meditation work, and they always talk about like everyone sort of like being equal and we are all one. And so like these two like separate things where like people are like ranked and then also like we are all one and all equal. It like really fucked with me, like trying to resolve that.
There's a lot of tension between between the metaphysical reality and the physical reality.
I mean, I did resolve it, and it's one of those things where it's like the deep truth is a paradox, and like opposite truths exist like within each other and inseparably from each other. And so like the way I resolved that was essentially like the feeling that we are all one is just a biological phenomenon because we're a fucking pack animal, and feeling connected and caring for everyone that's in your community is likely to make you have a tribe that is successful and healthy and takes care of each other and is a lot more functional than a bunch of individuals who don't give a shit about each other. That being said, like, what were we going to say?
I was going to ask, like, do you view that as something that is, you said biological, do you feel that's something that is innate, that's something we're born with, that's something that dies with us, or do you think that has more to do with the soul, the tribe concept? The desire to come together and conquer, or to be.
You're saying, is that only sort of like a derivative of like an animalism, right?
Yeah.
Or is there
maybe he's
like that sort of like spiritual journey?
I'm asking if it's spiritual or if it's physical.
Yeah, essentially, if you're reducing that if you're reducing it to a biological, not helping to explain, because with most things, the more that I learn about our biology and our psychophysiology, that's originally what got me coming to the first Grounding Man. Was I'm very interested in psychology, and I've always worked out, and I've been really in touch with my body.
Yeah.
And I'm a really physical dude, and I there's nothing like you can control your body with your mind.
Yeah.
And you can have profound moving impacts on your mind by changing your physical state, which is almost a better tool because anyone can do it. It's really the whole point of like being able to come somewhere like here is all you have to do is follow instructions and fucking get your ego out of the way.
Yeah.
Do the thing, and it will have psychological impact.
Yeah, you experience like the opposite end of the spectrum of like typical society.
Right.
So you experience like hyper like body awareness, right? Whereas we're typically hyper like informational awareness, rational awareness. So just by exploring the opposite end of the spectrum, like even in a chaotic sense, is like some shit's gonna land, right?
Yeah.
It's just like fucking just machine gun bullets. Like some of them are gonna hit you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's powerful in that way for sure.
Yeah.
Something that I think about is that the division of like isolation of the brain as a single organ from the rest of the nervous system, in a sense, is sort of arbitrary because it's all just neurons, and the only real difference is
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like calling a tree only the parts that are above ground.
Yeah.
Or only the branches with leaves on them, or something like that. It's like, which is ridiculous. Like, obviously, that's not the entire tree.
Yeah.
You know.
The reason that I brought up the psychophysiology is because in the way that you can, like, the mind is a funny thing because, like, it's so instantiated in the body, but there's an aspect of the mind that we just don't know anything about. Where do ideas come from? I mean, there's lots of them, but like, where do ideas come from? They just pop into your head from where? Even the way we talked about them is weird. And
it's funny. I feel my idea, personality, or identity feels very triggered.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? Well, they come from a great place.
Yeah,
it's a very golden place with a lot of value. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's here.
And so the reason I pose that question is because I believe the metaphysical manifests itself into the physical is a manifestation of the metaphysical. And if you like the best way of understanding, I think, what the metaphysical is like, all we got is looking at the physical. And I don't see, there's a lot of phenomenons that occur that in order for me to understand it and rationalize, there's no way that I can believe in it other than in a metaphysical reality. So again, the reason I brought this up was because you were, he was asking, essentially, if you were reducing that no man is not, that we're all one, to a biological impulse for survival.
Yeah.
I think it can be explained that way and really helpfully, but I don't think it's reduced to that in any sense. In fact, I think we would be robbing ourselves if we thought that was even the larger part.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, but the way you rationalize it makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah. I like tying things. I like tying things into like pretty fucking certain.
Yeah.
And like starting from pretty fucking certain to like, okay, like I'm open to possibility, but I'm not gonna bank on these like beliefs necessarily. So like the metaphysics, right? Like for instance, for me, like that's still something I haven't completely resolved because like I know that I can influence your energy field and you're influencing mine just by us interacting, and it's literally because of the electromagnetic field that you're sending off. Because of like your electricity flowing through your nervous system, which is how your nervous system operates. That being said, I'm still not sold on if the soul can really exist independently from the body, from the very electrical system itself. Can you still have, or is it? Can you not even just explain it as an electromagnetic field? You know, like. And so, like, I haven't, I still haven't resolved
the
that.
light coming off you in, like, the perception of their facial response to the things that you say.
Yeah, that's why you can do, like, sort of energy coaching, like, on calls, right? Like, I'm not sure if I'm not as attuned, like, on a video as I am in person. But, like, I can hear their voice. And, like, even by their voice, I can feel where you're blocked up.
Yeah.
Like I can see like the way that you're sitting, and like I'm not thinking about it in a technical fashion. I'm just like, oh, I feel this, and this. Like, and I'm mirroring, like the emotions that you're feeling are transferred into me, and through the interpretation from the eyes and the audio and so it's not even just the energy field. Yeah, the metaphysics of that shit like really fuck with me because I wonder like how far away, say if spirits couldn't exist independent of the body, right? Like if that's true, then how far away can you be from each other where your field can still affect someone else's field? Because you have all these people telling you like, I just know something bad happened to someone I love and they're 3,000 miles away. Maybe it's confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And those are the only stories that you hear were the ones that like someone was always worried about the one that they love.
What I
right?
suspect in those cases.
I have friends who are really confident about astral like projection. Mm-hmm. Like they're very confident that they can travel other places with their consciousness. I've not had that experience personally, but I'm just like, so like that's the thing. And so if I don't know, I like to come back to like the biology of it and like, because that is like, okay, that fucking, it makes sense and you can bank on that, you know, like, yeah.
The foundation.
You mentioned earlier the difference between an epistemological and a non-epistemological belief.
Yeah.
And there's a balance where there's so much utility to some of these non-epistemological beliefs.
Exactly.
That's what the three tests that I apply to. You mentioned two of them, and kind of like doing it, kind of the same criteria for the validity of these truth.
Yeah.
Is it empirically verifiable?
Yeah.
Is it experientially relevant? And is it logically consistent?
Okay.
Apart from those three things, we don't have any other tools. Like
like I'll give a great example. It's like, so what I usually come back to is like, how is this affecting my energy field? And I'd like it to be true if possible in an objective sense. Mm-hmm. I'd like the things I believe to like be objectively true, but really what I care about over anything else is like what impact is it having? Right. But even though that's true, like I'm not gonna go to someone who's religious and like saying like necessarily like God is in the sky and say, well, because that makes me feel good, I'm not gonna fucking think about whether it's true or not.
Right.
What I'm gonna think of is like how does the empowering result, the empowering feeling that results from believing that there's a man in the sky, can that empowering belief exist but based on something that's true? And then I try to find something that's actually true and verifiable that's also just as empowering. Like, so like what I do with like the God question is like, okay, I don't know if there's like a dude in the sky or he's like in like a undercurrent of the fabric of reality, the field of intention as they put it. But like what I do know is that like we have the emotional experiences of our ancestors like fucking back, like encoded into our fucking DNA. And so like that, and so that being true, like sometimes I'll think of things and like, oh, I can't do this, I feel powerless. And I'll think like, dude, imagine like everything that your ancestors must have had to go through and the power that it took
for them to get there. Of fucking winners.
And like that's also you sort of like accessing source, or what Robert Moore might call the what does he say, archetypal wellspring of like neurochemical energy.
Yeah.
And it's like and so like you're accessing archetypal energy is like accessing God energy. Like it's not just from the personality, it's like from like deep. It's like when people have those fucking chaotic release experiences, like, and so I'm like, that I know is fucking true. Mm-hmm. Right? And that feels very empowering. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm capable of, because the things that my ancestors had to go through must be fucking like insane, the fucking struggles that they had to overcome.
I always think of what Jesus said in the Bible, the same spirit that lives in me lives in you. Mm. We're talking about archetypes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the truth is that you can embody that and actually like walk in that power. You can embody the warrior. Capital T, capital W. You can embody the king. Mm. not just a piece of it or some weird twisted version.
Yeah, I have this fantasy. I have this fantasy, or like I guess goal. Like when I become rich, like having like a really big house and having like a room themed for king, warrior, magician, and lover.
That'd be cool.
And like going in there and it's just a complete theme. And like, so for instance, like the king room, like you go in there, there's a fucking literal throne. You know, there's literal fucking scepter, there's literal cape, and you go in there and like that's where you do your thinking. You know, and like, because they talk about that in Robert Moore's work, like surrounding yourself with art from the archetypes can inspire that energy from within you. And like imagine going into like a warrior room and it's just like fucking knight shit and shields and swords and like text like on the art of war, and then like you go into the lover room and it's just like flooded with like pink fucking light.
I feel like there's lots of rugs.
It's like a Molly room.
Rugs, pillows, and curtains.
Yeah, it's basically a Molly room. It's basically a Molly room, you know, like if you don't know what a Molly room is, that's okay. But like there's a very soft and pillows and shit and like just pink light, and you go in there and it's like, man, I'm not feeling very connected to love, and you just go in there, it's like,
I think my lover room would be a little cleaner.
Oh yeah,
I like it very clean.
Less jism stains and less mysterious clumps in the shack carpet.
If you go walk in there and you go, if you ever ask yourself what the hell is that, I'm not happy.
What?
If you ever have to ask yourself what the hell is that, no go.
Yeah. And the magician room, imagine how sick that could be. Like a fucking shaman room, and you go there and you're just like opened up into like the connectedness with everything. And, like,
when you said the shaman room, I just pictured
it's a what do they call those, like the fondue pots?
Yeah.
Of ayahuasca, and you like dip your strawberry in it.
I pictured mahogany bookcase with sliding like ladder. A big fucking chair and a fireplace. And,
yeah, there'd be some.
I'll work on my magician room. Yeah, there's like one of the fucking doors. Or there's a door in the bookcase.
Yeah,
and there's some more shit back there. Yeah, it's magician.
See, there's like an alchemy room.
Oh shit! Yeah, there's one of those behind there.
Yeah.
Damn, guys. Well, there's our conversation about destiny, metaphysics. Do they exist? Does it matter? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Did we get anywhere? Did we get to some conclusions?
Hey, well, man,
have reasons for why you believe things, if you can.
Yeah.
I guess. Right.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to you.
Cool, guys. Well, until next time.
Thanks.
Hello, guys. If you enjoyed this conversation today about some woke shit, some man shit, some life shit, feel free to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that little bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling. And thank you for watching, guys, as always. This is Johnny Wild, yo boy, out.